up, high school students? Thank you so much for clicking this video because today we're gonna go into week 3 of our series Mission. But before we head into the rest of this video, you're gonna wanna check out this segment of me curling Jake's hair. Yes, you heard that right. So let's check it out. What's up, guys? I'm Yasmin, and this is
Jake.
Jake is very excited because today I am going to be curling his hair. But let me tell you why. Many people always come up to me and they're like, oh my gosh, Yasmin, your hair is so luscious and beautiful.
Dramatic.
How do you do it? Well, I'm here to teach you, not on myself, but on no other than Jake Veda. Because he's got these blonde, luscious light locks with some nice little highlights that are natural. He doesn't get his hair done. So I'm going to show you how I do my hair. So
I'm nervous. What degree is this at? Is that a question?
My curling wand is 410 degrees. Yes. Your hair might smell burnt.
I'm so worried. Ew.
So basically, I kind of do my hair every other way. So first, like the front pieces, I wrap it around and I leave kind of like 2 inches from the bottom of the hair off. And then I just kind of like let it go. So you got this nice, beautiful curl.
I feel the heat.
I know, be careful. And
I'm
then
so nervous.
You see
I'm trusting you right now.
How we wrapped this one this way, we're gonna wrap the other one the opposite way. And you wanna grab like kind of like a medium like piece of the hair, like the thickness of it. Literally, you leave it on for like 10 seconds.
This is mad trust. Do girls do this in general, like on a regular basis, like curl each other's hair?
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's so much trust. Like if you hit my scalp, bro,
I know.
3rd degree burns, I'm going to ER.
I actually still have a scar from like the 3rd grade. I was curling my friend's hair.
3rd grade?
And
Good Lord.
It was with like a wand like this, and what's it called? I still have the scar, like
Wow.
literally like 17 years later. Okay, so you kind of see, can you turn this way, Jake? You kind of see how like the hair is like every other way. Like you want to do one this way, the other one the opposite way. Then we're gonna do the front pieces, which are like literally my favorite because it adds like a lot of volume.
Volume. Yeah, I cringe every single time. I'm like so nervous.
There you go.
Never in my wildest dreams did I ever want one.
Oh, that's a good piece right there.
I feel bad because I wish this was like at night so I would not ever have to see anyone else with my hair curled, but I have several meetings after this, so it'll be very interesting to see how those go.
You see, the wonderful thing about Jake's hair is that it curls pretty fast. Like you only really need to leave it on here for like maybe 10 seconds and then you kind of let it go.
This is my glow up. Is that a thing that people say, glow up?
The glow up, yes.
Glow up, let's go.
This is really fast. Like, this is literally gonna take me like I only have like 2 more pieces left. Okay. Almost there.
I'm ready for prom. Let's go.
See, you're kind of saying like Yasmin, like that doesn't really look like your hair. We're gonna get to the fabulous step that we do at the end. And you're gonna get mad because you're like, why do girls do the last step? Because you're gonna be like, this was all a waste of time. So, one more piece, which is the back.
Nice, full hair.
Full hair. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Actually, it doesn't feel bad now. Like I got used to it. It's like just a little warm.
There we go. Okay, so all the pieces are curled. So we got Jake's luscious locks, but let me tell you. Let me actually zoom. Actually, it looks really good.
Oh
So at the end,
watch me actually curl my hair for every service now. I'm like, oh, this is the worst. But then I'm like actually doing it every day.
When I curl my hair, I curl it, but then I brush it out so it looks like the effortless, like wave kind of curl.
Oh, like I woke up like this.
Yeah, I woke up like this. My hair's naturally like this.
Strategic.
Like fun fact, my hair's actually pinned straight, but everybody thinks it's like naturally curly because of the way I curl it. So I'm literally just gonna run my fingers
run your fingers
through the hair, and then I kind of like put it kind of back like this, bring the hair back.
Ooh. Hopefully you don't see too much dandruff in the camera or in your
All right, so Jake, can you stand up?
Yeah.
And give everyone a little spin. There we go.
Here's just a 360 for you.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's video. And I'm Yasmin.
I'm Jake.
And we'll see you later.
Do you know what your generation is called? Here's the official name for your generation. Generation Z. That's a pretty cool generation name. I'm actually the youngest possible millennial, which is the generation just older than you. And your parents might be old millennials or the next generation up. So when we talk about Gen Z and millennials, now you kind of know which one is your generation, which is Generation Z. If you didn't know, we are in a completely new series. This is part 2 of our series called Mission. Our mission as a student ministry is a movement of partners leading the next generation to take their next steps with Jesus. Today, we're talking about that middle part, leading the new generation. And guess who the new generation is? You guys. So when we talk about Gen Z, we're talking about middle schoolers and high schoolers.
So what does it mean to lead the next generation? Today, Jake and I are going to cover 4 main characteristics of your generation. The first characteristic is digital natives. While millennials grew up in a technologically savvy and connected world, younger members of Generation Z can't even remember a world without the internet. They grew up swiping an iPad before they even spoke a word, and they are the first generation to be raised in an era with smartphones. I had a Razor. I didn't have a smartphone. I remember going like this, and that was it. But now y'all got the app thing. Well, I have it too, obviously. iPhone. So teenage members of Gen Z are connected nearly every waking hour of the day, which is so crazy to me. There are so many apps for communication purposes, and it seems like everyone knows where everyone is and what everyone is doing at all times. My little cousin Lucy actually has this Finder app on her phone. I think we all do. I just found out about the Finder app, guys. And you can literally tell where your friends are if they share their location with you. So she'll tell me all the time, oh, my mom's here. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you know where your mother is at all times. I think that's so dope. The second characteristic is entrepreneurial. Let's say that together, entrepreneurial. Gen Zers have been raised with businesses such as Uber Eats, Airbnb, like DoorDash, all those kinds of things, and seeing how easy and simple it is to use your own time and resources to make money. Actually, 72% of older members of Gen Z want to start their own businesses. I've been seeing more and more younger people starting small businesses online and creating content pages and Instagrams, and it's been cool to check out because everyone wants to be in the know. And it floors me how creative and online savvy your generation is.
Tiroa was very kind to all of you guys, but I have to be the bad cop to the good cop because there are some drawbacks to your generation as well. And the first drawback, as there's a drawback to every generation, is that your generation in general, not everybody, but a lot of your generation is overwhelmed. There's this quote by someone from Time magazine, and I want to read it to you. It says this: "There was a pervasive sense that being a teenager today is a draining full-time job that includes doing schoolwork, managing a social media identity, and fretting about a career. You're also thinking about climate change, sexism, and racism, you name it." It says this, that 70%, really 68, but 70% of your generation feels overwhelmed. That's way more than half of you. Almost 3/4 of every Gen Zer feels overwhelmed with all of the things that you have to do. The fourth drawback, or the second drawback of the fourth characteristic, is that your generation is oftentimes lonely. It says this, that 3 million adolescents, again, 12 to 17, Generation Z, have had a major depressive episode in the past year. There's been an increase in anxiety and depression all since 2012. Every year, it just increases and increases and increases. So how do we combat being overwhelmed and feeling lonely?
The last one out of the 4 really spoke to my heart, my bones, my everything. I've learned from my own personal experience that loneliness steals joy. Something that I always talk about is the joy of the Lord is your strength. But how do we find that joy when we feel super lonely? I can remember that there have been many a times, many a nights where my heart just couldn't take the deep feels. And I know what you feel me, the deep feels, the deep stuff, the hard stuff, the sad stuff. There was no happiness. I was just mute and broken and laying on my bed, literally just like this. And a friend of mine kept texting me, and usually I'd respond to her. She's one of my best friends, but I just wasn't feeling it that night. And what I'm about to say next is a glimpse of God providing me with community. Within 10 minutes, there were 3 people at my door with pizza, Kool-Aid. Do you guys remember Kool-Aid? Love Kool-Aid. And ice cream. And my dear friends from my community recognized the silence and invaded my home with loud joy. This act of kindness felt like a warm hug because my family lives in Hawaii and I'm the only one here in California, so it can be hard to navigate loneliness for me sometimes. But the people that you surround yourself with, guys, are very important to your growth in the Lord.
I'm going to cut in here before Taroa finishes up her story just to say that you have felt lonely too. I am very confident about this. Just like Taroa feels lonely, I've had my lonely episodes, and you, especially now during COVID, when maybe you're eating lunch alone when before you ate lunch with your friends because you were at school. Maybe you're spending so much screen time because you have to, because of school, that you just feel like there's literally no friends that you physically have. They're all digital, which means for you, it could feel like they're all just made up somewhere in the cloud. We all feel lonely. And there's this verse that I do want to read as Taroa finishes up her story. It's a verse that my dad spoke to me when I was feeling lonely when I was in 9th grade. He said this to me, which is found in 1 Corinthians. No test or temptation that comes your way is beyond the course of what others have had to face. All you need to remember is that God will never let you down. He'll never let you be pushed past your limit. He'll always be there to help you come through it.
Like we've said before, people will either pull you closer to God or pull you away from God. And being that joy for someone in your community builds relationship. It builds connection. And we're all called to do that. We all need community that can come alongside us and work with us as we navigate loneliness. That's just what we're made for.
Here's the bottom line of this whole message. If you don't get anything else out of this message, this is the one thing you should focus in. God's community aids loneliness. Your generation struggles with it. We all struggle with loneliness, but especially you guys. So how can we aid this loneliness? It's by being in God's community. We're about to sing a song called Yes, I Will. And during this song, would you say yes to being a part of God's community? It's going to take some work on your end if you haven't already been facilitated into or walked purposely into community. But we have made sure on the back end that there is some place that you can actually walk into community. Yasmin, me and Taro, we've worked so hard to create a community of people your age, your grade, that you can actually connect with. Of course, as you know, we have our services, but we also have our growth groups. And if you want to get involved in growth groups, if you want to get into community because you are feeling lonely, like so many of you are, please text StudentGroups to 67076. And as we sing the song, Yes, I Would, Yes, I Will, would you consider texting StudentGroups to 67076 because God's community aids loneliness.
I count on one thing, the same God that never fails will not fail me now. You won't fail me now. And the waiting, the same God who's never late is working all things out. You're working all things out. Oh yes, I will lift you high in the lowest valley. Yes, I will bless your name. Oh yes, I will sing for joy when my heart is heavy all my days. Oh yes, I will. Oh, yes, I will bless your
Thank you guys so much for tuning into week 3 of our series Mission. If you haven't watched the rest of this series, you can click any of these videos right here. Trust me, they are so good. But if not, I will see you next week here at 7 p.m. for the next Students United video. See ya.